could you stand guard for us outside the outhouse? And I'm like, wait, you need a chaperone to go?
But he wanted us to have flashlights on, so
Yeah, because he just encountered a grizzly. The grizzly was in the area, and then at night, the barrel down by the like little creek that we were
yeah,
staying.
yeah, yeah.
So the barrel like expanded,
It
like the air pressure
pressure
changed it,
and it,
and man, there was not a peep heard from the tents, and all you could hear were like hammers cocking, like everybody didn't say a word. Okay, all right. Apparently we're live, so
okay, I'll be
folks,
careful what I say.
yeah, please be careful. Don't drop any f bombs or anything like that. But we're here with Paul Pluff of Ruger and a longtime friend. We were just actually going over an Alaska trip that we took. Oh my gosh, it had to have been 6, 7 years ago at
Well,
least.
yeah, at least that.
Yeah. So, but anyway, we're not talking about bear hunting here. We're not talking about Alaska. We are talking about new products, and Ruger seems to be one of those companies that always is developing something. And I see in front of us we have a GP100, but it doesn't look like your traditional GP100.
So the nice thing, and everybody can see that we have an empty cylinder here, but this is a hybrid for Ruger. So we like to affectionately refer to this as a Super GP. And so one of the things we wanted to do here in the revolver world is we wanted to have something that you could pull out of the box and potentially use for competition. So we wanted to have the features of the gun that made it readily available to do that. And so we looked at this thing, and you look at this thing, and you look at the form, fit, and the function of the gun.
Yes.
It's very aesthetically pleasing, but all these things that make it aesthetically pleasing have a functional aspect to it.
Okay.
And so
Well, yeah, give us a rundown because I'm seeing a lot of function on the gun for especially the competition guys.
yeah, and absolutely, and everything is geared at this. So we'll talk about this thing. So we call it Super GP, and part of that is so we wanted to have, as you can see, an 8-shot cylinder, okay, cut for moon clips, and it's chamfered charge holes for faster speed reloads. But to put an 8-shot 357 in there,
Yeah.
you kind of had to go to the Ruger Red Hawk frame,
Okay.
which is okay. Very strong, very durable frame.
Absolutely.
The problem with that is you talk about guys who want to tune the gun for competition. So that particular gun uses a single spring system in there to handle both the trigger, return, and the hammer force. So it makes it very difficult to balance the trigger and the hammer to get that nice, smooth, light action. So this has a GP trigger system in frame with the Red Hawk upper, hence the Super GP.
Right.
So it has a 2-spring system. So we've done a lot of things with it. So it makes the ability for guys to be able to tune this thing and tune it to whatever ammo they're shooting. So they could actually lower the spring weight on the thing and make sure it functions with the ammo that they're shooting so they can shoot it quick.
So it's fine tunable for the guy who he wants to take this out, he wants to go compete with it, and he has a load that he absolutely loves. Can't deal with that, and you got it.
We got it. And the nice thing about this is if you pull through the trigger, it does have a tuned action to it. It's got a very smooth, really nice double action to it. It's got an incredible single action to it. But you take a smooth that, and I'll tell you what, once again, we have an empty cylinder.
Yeah, let's show these guys. Let's get them tuned into this because we'll get all our cutaways in it. And what grips are you guys putting on here?
So this is actually
beautiful.
That's actually a whole grip. So it's a smooth contour type of grip. I like it because you think about a smooth grip, but you look at the shape and geometry of it, it gives you a nice purchase. And I'm a guy that uses a high handhold on it, so that's where it's at.
That's where your hand naturally would fall.
And that's what you want because it keeps that muzzle from not coming up, so it nudges back versus nudging up. So that means those sights stay in a line, and so you can take that second and third shot much facster.
Woo. Okay, so what's up with this? Oh, functionality.
Functionality. So what's kind of cool is it is a 2-piece barrel, so to backrise it. It has a target crown on there. The gun is extremely accurate, but you look at it and it's aesthetically pleasing, and everybody goes, "Oh, you did lightning cut. You put it in there for aesthetics." Well, it's more than lightning cut. So pick the gun up and you hold it.
Yeah.
We wanted to reduce the weight of the barrel so that it had a nice even balance to it when you shoot. So you pick it up. That's meant to balance it. Give it that perfect aiming point and balance for the gun. So that's what that's done. Why it did that, and it works out tremendously well. Just
now the development this goes through and the range practice that you guys are going through. You're shooting a lot of different loads, and we were talking earlier, actually yesterday, about this gun, and I didn't know this was coming out. You guys kind of dropped this on me early. But what were you said you were getting some incredible groups. I mean, with double action and single action.
I was.
With different loads.
So one of the things I did, I got an early version of this. Well, I shouldn't say early version. I got this gun prior to us releasing it, and so last week I went out and we do what we call jury testing. So you run it through its paces,
Right.
and we send guns to different guys. And so I had that. So one of the things we want to do is I want to put a lot of rounds to it, shoot a single action, double action,
Right.
fast, slow, that type of thing. Just making sure that the gun's going to function the way we want it. And I also do accuracy testing. So the neat thing about it is I went through and I put about 500 rounds of 357 Magnum through this gun.
Okay.
Okay, and the neat thing about
Magnum rounds.
Magnum rounds.
Not 38s.
Not 38s, but I also did 300 rounds of 38s afterwards too.
Okay.
But
are you just a glutton for punishment? Just curious.
It gets back to the Alaskan trip again, but we won't go there.
We won't go there.
but
it's already off the rails.
It's already off the rails. But anyway, so what I did is I took it out there, and so part of my testing procedure was not only putting all those rounds through, but you think about those rounds, and so every 50 rounds was a different box of ammo, a different manufacturer, and a different grain weight and bullet configuration.
Yeah.
So I wanted to shoot all different types of stuff to it, and so part of that, when I was doing that, I was doing function testing with the gun, doing double action, single action, fast, slow, but I also grouped every round, every box of ammo. I wanted to see what the group was, and so I set targets up at 15 yards offhand, and mostly double action. And so the incredible thing about thinking through all that, what really the big takeaway for this gun with me is the worst group that I was able to shoot with a box ammo, I won't say it, was 1.1 inches.
And that's good.
That's good.
And that's not close range. You were out 15, 25 yards.
Yes, and everything else was under sub inch. And when you look at that group and you're looking at 8 shots and it's basically turned into one big hole.
And that's double action too. And that's a testament to like the development of that trigger too.
Yeah, and it's a very smooth action on it. You can see it's tuned. Everything's been polished and slicked up on it. And that's just part of what makes it. I mean, I could go out there, and this has what we would call our factory spring system in there, and that's the heaviest it's ever going to be, and you can tune it lower. But this is already so smooth and so slick shooting double action. It's just, I refer to it in the competition as rolling the trigger.
Okay.
And it's so smooth. I'm not thinking about the trigger weight. I'm thinking about how smooth that is and how easy it is to roll that trigger and get one shot after another.
And you don't want to think about the trigger. You don't want to think about anything on this gun. You just want to go bang and hit where you want.
And it's just added feature. So one of the things, and cosmetically, let's face it,
it's
sexy looking gun. Okay?
I mean, this isn't your your old GP100, but if you're a fan, you've got certain integrations within that family and the Red Hawk group. So you're kind of blending the two, and you're kind of joining forces with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's kind of, so you look at this thing and look at the cylinder, and everybody goes, man, that fluting's kind of up, but I really like it. It makes the gun look really nice. We did not do that for cosmetic reasons.
You didn't?
It has a functional purpose behind it.
Okay.
So one of the things we need to do when we were talking about it, and everybody was talking about cylinder, we need to have titanium cylinders, and we need to, because we need to reduce the weight of, of the cylinder. And I said, one thing I know about titanium is it's lightweight, everybody likes it, but it gives extraction problems.
Okay, right.
I want to eliminate extraction problems. So what is exactly that we want to do? The issue is now becomes cylinder mass and rotation speed for the competition shooter. So you want to be able to rotate that cylinder fast, and you don't want, during that rotation, the notches to get torn up.
Right.
Okay? And so the answer to that is it a material issue or is it a weight issue? And the answer was, well, we really need to be here at this weight to get the cylinder mass down to what
you need
to do what we need. And so we,
and that's it.
It's simple. And you look back at it and you go, well, how do we get there without changing materials? And you look at it, well, we couldn't do that with the Ruger LCR. It has that that funky.
I know.
And so we took that material off. We got to where we need to go. The gun functions great, and it turns out it adds to the aesthetics of the gun.
Well, of course it does, because that's what I mean. Look good, shoot good, right?
Look good, shoot good. and if you can't shoot good, look good.
That's my classification. That's where I kind of fall in place. Okay, we're gonna switch gears here, and I'm actually gonna kick you out.
I'm okay
I don't want to say no. We're actually gonna kick Paul Pluff off. I've never got to do that, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I'm gonna kick him off the live. I'm gonna bring in another professional shooter, Miss Beth Walker.
Miss Beth, she is my first junior shooter on the shooting team.
Yeah. And
And
that's big for Ruger. I mean, it's big.
it's big for us, but I'm going to let her speak for herself.
Yeah.
'Cause she's an amazing lady.
Yeah,
So
come on in.
you come on in.
This is live, so we can do whatever we want. Just don't cuss. I have to worry about that. Yeah, I mean, just like that. Now she can hear me. So,
Ooh.
all right. Yeah, I know. Like all of a sudden, you're out there, you're out in the crowd, and you're like,
Oh,
I
yeah.
can't hear him. But anyway, Beth Walker, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
First junior shooter.
Yes.
Okay. I guess give us a little bit of your background, because I know you've been doing this for a while, and balance becomes a problem, especially with junior shooters, because you're doing schoolwork.
Oh, yes.
There is important things there, but you're doing so much more than just schoolwork and shooting. So just start. I'm gonna just sit back. I'm gonna let you guys enjoy Beth Walker.
So I've been shooting competitively for almost 3 years now. It was a little bit rough getting into it, so it was a result of getting 2 severe concussions. I was prohibited from playing contact sports. I played volleyball, basketball, and softball before that. And just really, I just watched YouTube and found some competitive shooters on there and decided that it was something I wanted to do, but it took about 2 years to get really involved in it. So my freshman year of high school, I started shooting a little bit, and it just grew
Right.
to a huge degree. I didn't expect all the growth that's been happening, to the point where I did switch to online school.
Really?
To balance, yes. So the traveling was something that we found out was a little bit of an issue.
Right.
My school was very supportive of me and what I was doing, especially the Second Amendment advocacy part of it.
Okay.
They're very, honestly, a conservative school system.
Your school.
Yes, extremely.
And that's something that typically we don't hear of
Yes.
many times in this day and age. But did your school have a shooting program?
They do not. They were just looking at it as something unique that was career training for me,
Mhm.
because they looked at it as, well, it's developing her as a whole person.
Right.
And not necessarily as, oh, she's going to play soccer for a weekend and then she's going to come back and maybe go to college for
Right.
that and then stop. It's something that I can do lifelong.
Right.
So they were looking at it as a long-term investment in my life.
Really?
Yes.
And now, so you switch over to online to help develop, as a shooter more. How'd that transition go for you? And really kind of give folks an idea of, especially for our junior shooters out there who are looking at that balance and how to do that. And what did you find worked best for you?
So for me, I'm a very social person, so the online was a little bit of a struggle to
Mhm.
adjust to. But looking at it again as a long-term investment for my life, I know this is something that I want to do long-term and that
Right.
I want to pursue for my whole life, and that's something that you have to weigh. It's here and the now, or are we going to focus on 5-10 years in the
Right.
future? And that's something that I think more teenagers do need to do, is
Well-
look at the future and
But that's hard to
weigh
do.
things. It is
It's
very
hard to
hard.
do, because you look at our social media outlets
Oh, yes.
and how fast information is developing. It's quick. It's
Everything
in and
is
out.
here in the now.
Yeah.
And it's hard to make that transition, and it took me 6 months to make the decision to actually jump to online school. So I was going to switch halfway through my sophomore year of high school, but
Mhm.
I decided to stick out the last 6 months and just finish, and then junior year I decided to switch.
So when did you decide that this was the career you wanted? Because I can't think of many youth shooters out there that are like, yeah, this is going to be my life. How do you make that decision and commitment to this early on? Be like, I think I'm pretty good at this shooting thing. I'm gonna just do this.
Well, a lot of it was looking at people like Julie Golub and Doug, especially, just
Yeah.
how they balance their lives, and the amount of people they've been able to reach and
Yeah.
influence. And that's something that I want to do. I want to not only be a proficient and well developed shooter, but I want to be an influencer for people. I want to
Yeah.
help young kids really find themselves and be able to see that, guns aren't bad. It's
No,
an outlet for learning and for responsibility and education. And so that's something that I want to focus on. But I think really when I decided that this is something that I wanted to do career-wise, I taught my first class with Tina Martin-Ims, who's also a Team
Right.
Ruger shooter.
Mhm.
And that was at a fall festival put on by A Girl and a Gun last October. And I knew that this was something that I did want to just do it maybe for a hobby my whole life, but
Right.
that's when I decided just really being able to influence people and teach them. I saw the impact that it made, and
Really?
that's something that really spoke to me.
Okay, I'm gonna put you on the spot. Okay. All right. This is going to be a really hard question for you.
Okay.
All right. What are the 3 things that a youth shooter needs to know and how they can get involved in the shooting sports?
So the first thing I would say is always put an emphasis on safety, because in our society there's a lot of things that teach reckless gun handling, and the most important thing for a young person getting involved in shooting is knowing about the importance of safety.
Yes.
The second would be there will never feel like a right time to start. You just have to jump in.
Okay, that's fair and spoken from someone who did it.
Yes, I struggled a lot with knowing when the right time would be and getting nervous, and you just gotta go for it.
Okay, that's fair. What's your number 3?
My number 3, ooh, don't be afraid to ask questions, because some of the professional shooters that run around on the range and are working constantly and doing this as a career are the most approachable people that you will ever meet. I have not found one person yet in this industry who has not been willing to help me.
Perfect. All right, folks, that's Ruger's Beth Walker, the future of shooting, and a great advocate for our Second Amendment rights.
Thank you.
Thanks.